Hi guys, it's February 28th. Welcome to Studio Coffee, which actually today is at the end of the day, not at the beginning of the day. So we have beautiful light streaming into my studio behind me. I'm drinking water, not coffee. I don't need any more caffeine today. I wanted to talk a little bit about something kind of following up my last episode, which is where I was sort of saying that art is a people first business. I got a person who's been watching the videos sent me a question, sort of like, why even do shows? Shows are really frustrating. This is a person who's just getting started, and they're kind of at that point where you get out, you have your degree, you're making work, you finally get a show, you spend a lot of money, time, and energy putting the show together, and you don't recoup anything off of your investment. You feel like nobody comes, maybe isn't connecting to people. You feel like nothing's selling. It seems like it's all kind of a big, a big waste of time or a big waste of your time or something like that. And I hear you. I think every artist, particularly when they get out of school, goes through something like that. A lot of it, I think, comes with several preconceptions and misconceptions about what the art world is. So maybe I would like to address a couple of those. It's a very tricky topic. In some ways, the question ultimately is like, look, how do I actually make a living at this? Like, I'm trying my best, but I can't figure out how to get any traction. Fair point. It's very difficult to get traction. As I've mentioned before, I think you have to really think about this as a multi-year to get going. But I also don't think that's actually that different than any other business. So oftentimes I want to steer people back towards something like a business model, because I think that even though I know that we are, in some ways not businesses, in some ways we are businesses. And even if you don't consider yourself a business per se because you're an artist, whatever that difference is. I'm not trying to argue that point. What I am trying to say is there's a lot of things you can learn from the way the business world has attitudes about getting started. And I think that's really helpful. So anyway, take a look at some things like that. You can Google stuff, about like, how do I start a business? And that's a great place to even start. Like, how do I start an art career? Just use kind of the same ideas. How much money does it take to start a business? It may be that you're going to end up spending a fair amount of money at the beginning doing shows that aren't profitable, for example, framing a lot of work, or whatever it is, promotions of different kinds. But ultimately what you're looking for is the people who connect to you and connect to your work, and you're trying to build relationships right there. And again, it's people first. So I think really a couple of things I would sort of say. One is a misconception that I know that I had, and I think a lot of other people have, is that when you come through college, you go through graduate school, and people tell you, okay, your work is good, your work is worthy. I think there's a sense then that when you get out, you can go and have a show, and people, some unknown group of people are out there that are art collectors who have a ton of money, and they're going to walk into the gallery and they're going to see your work and they're going to start plunking down money, which may happen. It's not very likely. Most of the people who are going to buy your work are going to be in a long-term relationship with you. And if you think about it in terms of a relationship, almost like a dating relationship, think about what that's like. Use that as a better model. You meet people, you slowly get to know them. You don't meet people on the first date and say, hey, let's get married. In fact, when you meet people, you don't ask them out on a date usually. You have several times where you meet people and you build trust. And if you even thought about how you might go about spending your money towards art, it's not likely that you would walk into a place and just buy something unless you had crazy amounts of cash. Most people don't have crazy amounts of cash. Most art collectors don't have crazy amounts of cash. They're actually people with kind of standard, ordinary, everyday jobs who love art and who are willing to invest in people. And one of the reasons that they invest in art is because they want to invest in artists, which means that they want to know the people that they're investing in. It's not just about the artwork, it's about the person. So you have to connect yourself and your work and your story to those people. And that's, can you maybe kind of start to see like that kind of is going to take a lot of time. Also, I don't think it's very helpful to think about the art world as an art world, as if it's one monolithic thing that you are going to try to get into. The art world, like we live in the Chicago area, and Chicago is a city that is made up of a ton of really awesome neighborhoods, and each of those neighborhoods has its own flavor. And I think the art world is a little bit that way too. There's lots of there's not one single thing that you're trying to break into, but there's multiple neighborhoods, multiple locations within the art world, and you need to find the places where you like to be, where your work tends to be. Who does it talk to? It could be that you love galleries, as I do, and so so you're going to pursue gallery work or work that you can get into galleries. It could be that you dislike galleries entirely, in which case, why are you trying to get into galleries other than the fact that you think that's what you're supposed to do? Tons of artists out there don't ever show in galleries, and that's totally cool and okay. So I also, as much as I like galleries, I also like the idea that I can make something small and inexpensive that can be part of somebody's everyday life. And I don't necessarily feel like if it's going to be something that, you know, somebody's going to use, they're not going to spend $1,000 on it. They're going to spend, you know, I'm hoping somewhere between $40 and $50 on it. So, so that means I may be also making work that's not necessarily for gallery, but is going to be for you know, an art show or even a farmer's market. I've really felt like I learned a ton of things about connecting with people by being directly in conversation with them one-on-one in a farmer's market. And so anyway, I just encourage you to think about, and in essence, I sort of make two different types of work. So you can actually see it behind me. I've got, you know, mugs, which I'm trying to sell more directly to people, and I've got sculptures like this thing back behind me, which is more for a gallery show. So it's not that I don't think you couldn't also make these for a gallery show. Again, I'm not trying to get between an art and craft debate. I'm just saying I recognize that different works that I make work in different places, and I'm very aware of different places and different audiences and what I want to do with them. So, all right, I could talk about this forever and ever and ever, but I should stop. I just want to say again, if your starting point is more about people and you let go of some of the preconceived notions of what you think it looks like to be a successful artist, and you begin to get a little bit more creative about how can you create a business around the things that you love to do, then I think you're going to have a lot more success. And I wish you the best. And really, honestly, there's room for all of us. So I encourage you to keep going, keep thinking, keep sending me questions. I'm happy to expand on this topic or other topics related to this. And, you know, and also if you have suggestions, send me suggestions. Like if there's some things you know that work, great, send them. You know, we'll share them with everybody. Thanks, everybody. I am going to head home, and I'll do it again next Monday, bright and early. So see you. Bye.